This is a message for President Ramaphosa. Mr. President, since the Phala scandal and the load-shedding crisis hit South Africa, you have been conspicuous by your absence. This stands in very stark contrast to your regular updates during the COVID-19 pandemic. In your absence, Mr. President, other forces are starting to fill the vacuum that you've left behind. Those include Minister Mantashe and Minister Pravin Gordhan, who disingenuously and dishonestly are trying to shift the blame to Eskom and Andre de Ruyter for the electricity crisis that we find ourselves in. And let me be clear, Mr. President, this is a crisis. Stage 6, perhaps stage 7, ongoing blackouts are going to be the death knell of our economy, and they're going to kill even more jobs. Your failure to treat this as a crisis is causing hardship and suffering to more and more South Africans every single day. And let's be clear, this is not Eskom's fault. It's not Andre de Ruyter's fault. It's your and your party's failure of policy and leadership over 2 decades to get on top of this issue. Let me remind you, Mr. President, it was you who in 2015 told us as South Africans that within 18 months to 2 years, we would forget that the problems with Eskom and load shedding ever happened. Well, we're now sitting in 2022, and the situation is worse than it's ever been before. This crisis, Mr. President, is a monument to your policy failure and inaction over the course of your leadership. Let's remember, it was President Jacob Zuma who placed you in charge of fixing Eskom when you were his deputy president. You've placed David Mabuza in charge while you are the president. He spends more time in Russia than grappling with our electricity crisis. And let's also be clear, Mr. President, there are many, many good South Africans who are coming forward every single day with great solutions to the problem. And that includes my party, Mr. President, who for the last 5 years have been putting on the table workable alternatives. And if you want to see some of them, visit our website, www.keepthelightson.co.za. They shouldn't be strange to you, however, because we've been sending them to you regularly over the same time period. The time for hiding away from South Africans is over, Mr. President. Our country is crying out for bold and decisive leadership. Not leadership that shifts the blame, not leadership that tries to blame things that happened 30 to 40 years ago, leadership that steps up to the plate, grasps the nettle, and deals with the problem. South Africans are tired of load shedding, they're tired of the blackouts, they're tired of having their businesses suffering, and they're tired of the inconvenience. They need a government that's going to be on their side in dealing with this crisis, not one that hides away or tries to shift the blame. Mr. President, if you're not prepared to show the leadership, the very least you can do is get rid of those people who are now standing in the way of us dealing with this crisis. And that includes Minister Pravin Gordhan, who's more intent on blocking the opposition from exercising oversight than grappling with the problem. And Minister Mantashe, who's like a misguided missile, sowing disinformation and disharmony wherever he goes. These are obstacles to us dealing with the problem. So, Mr. President, here's a challenge to you. Before the end of the year, declare a ring-fenced state of disaster around Eskom so that they can free their hands to get to grips with the crisis. Get your political czars away from the problem and get real experts around a table so we can start to put real solutions on the table. And thirdly, Mr. President, if you're not prepared to lead the country, then it is time for you, sir, to step aside.
Thanks for watching. Like and follow our page on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. Tell us what you think in the comment section. And please, like and share our videos with your friends and family. Join the DA. Join the fight to save South Africa.